The average senior in the United States has nearly 20 outdated items sitting quietly in their home right now. On the surface, they may look harmless, a piece of furniture that's always been there, a stack of papers you meant to sort, or a kitchen gadget that hasn't been touched in years. But here's the truth, these things don't just collect dust. They collect stress. They create silent risks. And sometimes, they even carry a shadow of guilt or shame. Think about it. How many times have you stepped into your living room, your kitchen, or even your bedroom and felt a heaviness you couldn't quite explain? It wasn't just the clutter you saw, it was the weight of objects that no longer serve you. Items that belong to another season of life, yet still claim a place in your present. And because they've been around for so long, you've stopped noticing them. They've become part of the background, like wallpaper you no longer question, even though it quietly drags down your space and your energy. So let me ask you, what's still sitting in your home that doesn't support the life you live today, but you've been too used to seeing it to notice? The answer may surprise you. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you've ever walked into your home and thought, something here just feels heavy, you're not alone. That's why you should hit subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors, because today we're pulling back the curtain on the outdated items no one else talks about, but that could be holding you back more than you realize. Item 1. The heavy heirloom that controls the room. Walk into almost any senior's home in America, and you'll often find one piece of furniture that dominates the entire space. It might be a giant dining table that hasn't hosted a family gathering in years, or a china cabinet so heavy it feels like it's nailed into the floor. These heirlooms were once symbols of pride, gifts from parents, wedding treasures, or family hand-me-downs that carried meaning at one time. They represented tradition, stability, and even success. But today, for many over 60, these oversized pieces do something very different. They crowd your rooms. They limit your movement. And they silently remind you of a past you may not even live anymore. Think about it. When was the last time that massive table saw 12 people gathered around it? For most, it's been decades. Children have grown, families live in different states, and modern celebrations often happen in restaurants or smaller, cozier spaces. Yet the table remains, claiming a third of your dining room and forcing you to squeeze sideways just to pass. Or that china cabinet. It's filled with dishes you never touch, fragile glassware you're too nervous to use, and shelves that gather dust more than they hold memories. Here's the emotional weight. These items don't just take up square footage. They take up mental space. Every time you walk by, you might think, I can't get rid of this, what if my children want it one day? Or, this was expensive, I'd feel guilty letting it go. That guilt becomes the chain that ties you to an object that no longer supports your daily life. And it's not just about guilt, it's about safety, too. Oversized heirlooms block light, trip walking paths, and make your home harder to navigate. They don't just hold memories. They hold risks. Now, here's the fresh perspective. Letting go of one heirloom doesn't erase your family. It doesn't erase the holidays you once hosted, or the laughter you shared around that table. Those memories live in you, not in the wood and glass. By releasing the furniture that no longer fits your lifestyle, you're not losing history, you're gaining freedom. Imagine your dining room transformed into a lighter, safer, easier space. Imagine a smaller table where you can actually reach across and have an intimate dinner with a close friend, instead of staring across a stretch of wood built for a crowd that rarely comes. Instead of holding on to the whole piece, choose one small part that carries meaning. Take a plate, a serving spoon, or even a single panel of wood from the heirloom. Turn it into something you use and love, a framed keepsake, a daily mug, a memory you can actually live with. That way, you honor the past without letting it choke your present. Because at the end of the day, your home is not a museum. It's not meant to display relics for visitors who no longer come. It's meant to support you, today, in the body and life you live right now. And one less heavy heirloom can mean one more room where you finally feel free. Item 2. Appliances from a different era. Step into the kitchen of many seniors across the United States, and you'll often see appliances that feel like they belong in a time capsule. Oversized microwaves that weigh more than a modern dishwasher. Avocado green blenders from the 1970s still tucked in the corner. Or that old chest freezer humming away in the garage, filled with more ice crystals than actual food. At one point, these appliances were cutting edge. They symbolized progress, comfort, and the ability to provide for a family. But decades later, they are not just outdated, they are costly anchors. Here's what most people don't realize. Older appliances drain energy silently, and in today's economy, that's a burden seniors can't afford to ignore. Utility costs in the US are climbing year after year, and while you might think keeping that old freezer is saving you money, it's likely doing the opposite. Studies show that older appliances can use 2 to 3 times the electricity of modern energy-efficient ones. That means every extra hour that avocado green mixer sits plugged in, or every day that chest freezer hums in the background, your wallet is being quietly drained. These outdated machines aren't saving you, they are stealing from you. And the emotional weight goes deeper than bills. Seniors often hold on to these appliances because they represent memories of when they were first bought. Maybe a wedding gift, a family investment, or simply a tool that made life easier back then. Letting go can feel like letting go of a chapter of your life. But ask yourself this, is that chapter worth reliving every time you open your electric bill? Is it worth feeling guilty each time you see something taking up space that you no longer use? The truth is, modern appliances are not only safer and more efficient, they're also designed with today's needs in mind. A smaller microwave that fits your counter without swallowing it. A lightweight blender that doesn't require both hands to lift. A freezer that doesn't turn the garage into an ice cave. By upgrading, you're not just saving money, you're buying peace of mind. Here's a fresh step you can take. Walk through your kitchen and garage and identify one outdated appliance you haven't truly used in years. Ask yourself if it deserves the space and the dollars it costs you. If not, donate it, recycle it, or let it go. Keep only what fits your life today. Because your home should not feel like an exhibit from the past. It should feel like a tool that supports your future. And sometimes the smartest way to honor yesterday is to stop letting yesterday steal from today. Item 3. Outdated safety illusions. Some of the most dangerous clutter in a senior's home doesn't look like clutter at all. It's the items we rely on for protection, things that were meant to keep us safe but are now so outdated they actually put us at greater risk. Old smoke detectors that haven't had a new battery in years. Extension cords wrapped in electrical tape after years of use. Throw rugs that curl at the edges and catch on your shoes every time you walk across the room. On the surface, these items look ordinary. In fact, many seniors glance at them and think, it still works fine. But the reality is, these are safety illusions, objects that look protective, but quietly fail when you need them most. Think about that old smoke detector. Maybe it's been mounted on the same ceiling since the 1990s. It looks fine, and the little test button might even beep when you press it. But experts warn that detectors older than 10 years lose sensitivity, meaning they may not sound at all during a real fire. Or take that frayed cord powering your lamp. You've taped it up, maybe even tucked it under a rug, convincing yourself it's harmless. But what it's really doing is silently raising your risk of an electrical fire. Then there are throw rugs, decorative, familiar, maybe even sentimental. Yet every curled corner is a fall waiting to happen. For seniors, a single fall can mean months of recovery, hospital bills, and in some cases, a permanent loss of independence. The emotional challenge here is that these items give a false sense of security. You look at the smoke detector and think you're protected. You see the cord and think you've fixed it. You keep the rug because it makes the room feel warm. But it's like carrying a broken umbrella into a storm. You don't realize how dangerous it is until the moment you need it. And by then, it's too late. Here's the shift. Safety doesn't come from holding on to what's familiar. It comes from updating what no longer works. Replacing an old detector with a new, modern model isn't just maintenance, it's a fresh layer of real protection. Tossing out frayed cords and rugs isn't about losing comfort, it's about gaining peace of mind every time you walk through your home. So here's the action step. This week, choose one item in your home that pretends to protect you but really doesn't. Replace it. Upgrade it. Or remove it entirely. Because safety isn't a memory, it's something you build today. And by letting go of outdated safety illusions, you're not just clearing clutter. You're making sure your home actually keeps the promise of protecting you. Item 4. Paper clutter that ages you. When most people think of clutter, they picture boxes stacked in the garage or closets stuffed with clothes. But for seniors, one of the heaviest and most overlooked types of clutter is paper. Not piles of newspapers or magazines, but the endless flow of Medicare brochures, expired insurance booklets, outdated medical instructions, and appliance manuals that never seem to leave. These stacks may not take up much physical space, but emotionally, they weigh a ton. Every sheet of paper represents a decision waiting to be made, a reminder of something you should look into, or a fear that you might throw away something important. And over time, these stacks don't just clutter your desk, they clutter your mind. Think about the last time you needed one piece of information, maybe your current insurance card or an updated prescription note. How many piles did you shuffle through before finding the right one? How many times have you discovered expired forms mixed with current ones, leaving you confused about which was accurate? For many seniors, these paper stacks create silent stress. They whisper that you're behind, unorganized, or even losing control. And when you're over 60, that mental weight doesn't just sit in a drawer, it sits on your shoulders. The emotional tug is real. Paper clutter has a way of aging you. It makes you feel less capable, less sharp, and less confident in your ability to manage your own life. It can even keep you from acting, because instead of making decisions, you push the piles aside and tell yourself you'll deal with them later. But later rarely comes, and the piles grow higher. Here's the fresh solution. Don't try to organize every piece of paper from the past 20 years. Instead, create one single today folder. In that folder, keep only the essentials you truly need right now: your current insurance policy, your updated medical documents, your most recent bills or financial papers. Everything else can either be digitized, shredded, or recycled. With this one step, you're not just reducing paper, you're reducing mental weight. The shift is powerful. Instead of drowning in the noise of old booklets and manuals, you have a clear system that says, this is what matters today. And when your children or loved ones visit, they won't see stacks of paper that make them worry about you. They'll see confidence, clarity, and peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, paper clutter doesn't just sit on the table, it sits in your thoughts. Clearing it doesn't mean erasing your history. It means protecting your present, so your energy is spent living, not sifting through stacks that no longer matter. Item 5. Clothes that belong to another season of life. Open the closet of many seniors, and you'll find not just clothes, but reminders of past identities. Hanging there are formal suits once worn to board meetings, gowns saved from weddings or formal dinners, or uniforms from decades of dedicated work. At one time, these clothes carried pride. They represented accomplishment, responsibility, and a role in society. But after 60, those clothes often shift from being useful to being whispers of the past. Each hanger doesn't just hold fabric, it holds the quiet message, "You used to be," and for many, that message weighs heavier than the clothes themselves. The truth is, most of these garments no longer reflect your current life. How often do you put on that tailored suit to sit at the kitchen table? When was the last time you wore that sparkling gown outside of a memory? Yet, because they were expensive, sentimental, or tied to years of hard work, letting go feels almost like betraying yourself. Seniors often say, "What if I need it someday?" But deep down, they know someday rarely comes. Instead, the clothes hang there, crowding the closet and quietly telling you that your best years are behind you. Here's the emotional toll. When you start your day by staring into a closet filled with clothes from another season of life, you reinforce a narrative that doesn't serve you anymore. It can make you feel like you're living in yesterday's story, instead of embracing today's chapter. And for seniors, confidence matters. What you wear isn't just fabric, it's how you present yourself to the world and how you feel inside your own home. Here's the fresh perspective. Dressing for today restores confidence and joy. It's not about discarding every memory, but about curating a closet that celebrates who you are now. Keep the clothes that fit your lifestyle, comfortable, stylish, and easy to wear for the moments that actually fill your days. family visits, church services, neighborhood walks, or dinners with friends. Donate or repurpose what no longer serves you. A practical step: choose 3 outfits that make you feel alive and confident right now. Put them front and center in your closet. Then, take one piece from the past, whether it's a suit, a uniform, or a gown, and ask yourself honestly, does this represent my life today, or am I keeping it to hold on to who I was? If it's the latter, it may be time to release it. Because your closet should never be a museum of who you used to be. It should be a reflection of the vibrant, capable person you are today. And when every piece you pull off a hanger affirms, "This is me now," you'll find yourself standing taller, smiling wider, and moving through life with more ease and joy. Item 6. The multiples that steal your story. Take a walk through your home and notice how many extras you have hiding in plain sight. Not just mugs or blankets, but stacks of unopened photo frames, unopened kitchen gadgets from past holidays, or 5 identical black umbrellas leaning in the closet. On the surface, duplicates seem harmless. But here's the hidden truth: they don't just take up space, they dilute meaning. When everything is duplicated, nothing feels special. The mug that once carried warm Sunday memories gets buried among 10 others. The blanket your grandchild once curled up in disappears in a pile of extras you don't even use. Multiples blur the story of your life, turning personal objects into background noise. Why does this matter? Because seniors often hold on to duplicates as a kind of invisible safety net. Growing up in times of scarcity taught you that more meant survival. But today, more doesn't equal safer. It equals less connection to the items that actually matter. Instead of preparing you for tomorrow, those extras trap you in a cycle of excess. Here's a fresh way to look at it. Duplicates aren't just clutter, they are thieves of attention. They distract you from noticing the one quilt that truly carries meaning, or the one tool you actually reach for every day. By keeping multiples, you're not building security, you're burying the very items that tell your story. So here's the shift. Don't ask, which ones should I get rid of? Ask instead, which single item in this category actually represents me today? Choose it, honor it, and let the others go. Suddenly, your home isn't filled with extras that blur your life. It's filled with essentials that define it. Because true security at this stage of life isn't about how many can openers or blankets you own. It's about knowing that what surrounds you has purpose, value, and a place in the story you're still writing. Item 7. Decorative shadows. Some clutter doesn't come in piles or boxes, it hangs quietly on the walls, sits on shelves, or drapes across windows, disguising itself as decoration. For many seniors, these so-called decorative pieces are actually shadows that make the home feel heavier and older than it really is. Dark, heavy curtains that once looked elegant now block the natural light you crave. Dusty wall hangings that haven't been cleaned in decades silently absorb the brightness of a room. Artificial flowers, faded and dull, no longer bring life but instead give off a sense of neglect. These items don't seem like clutter at first glance, but they change the atmosphere of your home every single day. Here's the emotional truth: light equals energy. Seniors often report feeling low, tired, or disconnected, not realizing their own surroundings are part of the problem. Imagine spending hours in a room where the curtains are drawn, the walls are lined with dark decor, and the flowers have lost all color. It doesn't just dim the room, it dims your mood. Studies show that natural light improves sleep, boosts energy, and even sharpens memory. Yet too many homes over 60 are filled with shadows disguised as decorations. The weight of these decorative shadows is subtle but powerful. They whisper, "Keep things as they've always been." They anchor you in a style or atmosphere that no longer fits the life you want to live today. And because they've hung there for so long, you stop noticing them, until one day, you realize the room feels sad, even though nothing looks wrong. Here's the new frame: brighter surroundings equal a brighter you. Opening the curtains, replacing heavy drapes with light sheers, swapping out dusty wall pieces for a clean, simple frame or mirror, all these changes aren't about redecorating, they're about reclaiming energy. Even replacing a faded artificial plant with a single fresh flower in a vase can transform a space from tired to alive. A practical step you can take today is to walk into one room of your home and ask yourself, Does this space feel light, or does it feel weighed down? Notice the curtains, the wall hangings, the decorations. Choose one item that no longer lifts you up and remove it. Watch how quickly the atmosphere changes with even one less shadow in the room. Because your home should not age you, it should energize you. And when you clear away the decorative shadows, what's left isn't emptiness. It's light. It's life. It's a space that makes you feel younger, brighter, and more alive each time you walk through the door. Item 8. Gifts you never wanted but still keep. Some of the hardest clutter for seniors to face isn't the old furniture or the dusty papers, it's the gifts. The souvenir plate from a trip you never took but someone thought you'd like. The gadget that's been sitting in its box for 5 years because you never had a use for it. The sweater you wore once out of politeness but never touched again. These aren't just objects, they're emotional landmines. You don't keep them because you need them. You keep them because you feel guilty letting them go. Guilt is powerful. Many seniors were raised with the belief that a gift should be treasured forever, no matter its usefulness. To part with it feels ungrateful, even disrespectful. So instead of making a decision, the item gets tucked into a closet, a drawer, or a box in the garage. Years pass, and suddenly, your home is holding on to dozens of things you never chose for yourself, but that still take up your space, your energy, and your peace of mind. Here's the emotional trap. Every time you see that unused gift, it doesn't remind you of love, it reminds you of obligation. Instead of lifting you up, it weighs you down. And that quiet pressure builds. Your home should be filled with things that reflect who you are, not who someone else thought you should be. Here's the fresh perspective. If it's costing you peace, it's too expensive to keep, even if it was free. A gift's purpose is to bring joy to the receiver, not guilt. Once it no longer serves that purpose, its job is done. You are not betraying the person who gave it to you by letting it go. In fact, freeing it allows it to find someone else who might truly need it. Here's an action step. Choose one gift you've been keeping out of guilt. Hold it and ask yourself, does this item still serve me, or is it only here because I feel I should keep it? If it doesn't serve you, release it without apology. Keep the memory of the giver, but let go of the object. Because at the end of the day, your home should reflect your life, not someone else's choices. And when you clear away the gifts you never wanted, you're not rejecting the people who gave them, you're honoring yourself. You're choosing peace over pressure. And that choice will always be the best gift you can give yourself. Item 9. Holiday excess bins. For many seniors, the attic, basement, or garage hides a secret burden. Bins upon bins of holiday decorations. Cracked ornaments wrapped in yellowed tissue. Strings of lights so tangled they haven't worked in years. Oversized seasonal figures that once brought excitement but now sit gathering dust, too heavy to carry up the stairs. These bins are meant to symbolize joy, but in reality, they often bring stress, guilt, and even physical risk. The emotional truth is this: holiday clutter carries memories. Every ornament, every wreath, every oversized decoration feels tied to family traditions. Letting go can feel like letting go of the joy itself. But here's the hard reality: those bins aren't creating joy anymore. They're creating obstacles. They take up storage space, make decorating overwhelming, and often sit unopened year after year. Instead of adding to the season, they turn celebrations into chores. Think about it. How many times have you put off decorating because just the thought of dragging those boxes out felt exhausting? How many lights have you tested, only to find half the bulbs dead? How many times have you felt guilty because you couldn't bring yourself to unpack it all? The season that's meant to bring peace and connection becomes weighed down by clutter disguised as tradition. Here's the fresh shift: celebrations are about people, not bins of broken decor. Your family remembers the laughter around the table, the warmth of your presence, the food you prepared with love, not how many Santa figurines line the shelves. The truth is, no one notices if you use fewer decorations. What they notice is your energy, your smile, and your ability to fully enjoy the moment. So here's a practical step: open your holiday bins and be honest. Keep the decorations that truly bring you joy, maybe a handmade ornament from your child, a small centerpiece you still love, or a few lights that brighten a window. Release the rest. Donate what still works, recycle the broken, and free yourself from bins that only collect dust. Because the holidays aren't stored in plastic containers, they are stored in the hearts of the people who share them with you. By letting go of excess, you give yourself the freedom to actually enjoy the season instead of dreading it. And that's the kind of holiday memory that will outshine any decoration. Outdated items don't just take up space in your home, they take up space in your life. They sit quietly in corners, on shelves, in closets, and in bins, and while you may not notice them every day, you feel their presence. They silently drain your energy, crowd your rooms, and make daily living feel heavier than it should. The truth is, every piece of clutter has weight, not just physical weight, but emotional weight. And when your surroundings are heavy, your spirit begins to feel heavy too. Letting go isn't about erasing your past. It's about protecting your future. Every outdated chair you no longer sit in, every paper stack you no longer need, every holiday bin you never open again, all of these represent more than clutter. They represent old chapters that are over. Releasing them doesn't mean you forget the joy they once brought, it means you honor that joy, but choose not to let it hold you back. With each item you release, you're giving yourself more freedom, more safety, and more peace. Think about how it feels to walk into a room that is light, open, and filled only with things that support you today. There is a calmness that comes from knowing everything has a purpose, and nothing is there just because you felt guilty letting it go. Instead of tripping over the past, you're walking confidently into the present. That's what decluttering outdated items really does. It lifts the invisible weight you've been carrying, sometimes for decades, and replaces it with clarity. Your home should support the person you are today, not hold you hostage to yesterday. You are not the clothes you once wore, the appliances you no longer use, or the stacks of paper that keep you second-guessing. You are the person standing in this moment, still capable of creating joy, connection, and memories that matter now. By letting go of outdated things, you create space not just in your home, but in your heart and mind. So I'll leave you with this question: which outdated item in your home surprised you the most? Be honest. I read every single comment, because your stories matter. And if this video gave you even a spark of courage to start, hit like, share it with a friend over 60, and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors. Because your home should grow with you, not trap you in the past. This is your chance to choose freedom, safety, and peace, one outdated item at a time.